Okay, so we have to thank Jess for allowing us to take a day out of her food diary on MyFitnessPal and allowing me to break it down for you. So she didn't know I was going to do this. I just messaged her and asked if I could pick a day and do a breakdown of it, and God bless her, she said yes. So here we are. I picked Monday. She'd already recorded that. And I'm just going to take it meal by meal. So her breakfast's not too bad. Breakfasts are always a wee bit difficult unless people are really like obsessive about it. She's got 40% of carbs, 21% of fat, and 38% protein. That's not bad. I mean, the fact that she's actually got protein in there is pretty good. That's what most people lack. So she actually drank her protein. Again, I've said this to you a ton of times. If you're not going to eat your protein, then by all means drink it. Eating it's better. Drinking it's better than not having it. So she's got a wee bit of protein in the semi-skimmed milk there as well. The 100 grams of strawberries, superb. Getting some fruit in first thing in the day, excellent. 30 calories. Strawberries are one of the things I consider to be closest to free food. Okay, so you can eat a lot of them for very few calories. Her oats at 20 grams of oats is about the same amount of oats that a small child would eat. No offence, Jess. It's a very small amount. And sure, that only comes at 77 calories, which, you know, she's got a fairly calorie dense breakfast there. It's okay. She could definitely have a wee bit more on the oats there. But overall, grand. Oats, by the way, have also got a little bit of protein in them, so that's good too. Okay, and then we've got our adorable little lunch of turkey and broccoli. Bless you, Jess, you're doing so well with this. Turkey and broccoli. Um, sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's just wow. Well done. Plenty of veg in there with the 200 grams of broccoli, and she's getting like green stuff in. Also good, as you know. That 75% of protein that you see at the top is slightly skewed. It makes it look like she's eating a lot of protein. She's actually not. It's just that there's not a lot of anything else in there. So she's got 75 grams of turkey at 116 calories. It's going to be something like 20 grams of protein, maybe 22 or something. I'm not something. It'll be about round about the 20 gram mark. Um, so that 75% protein is just because there is so little by the way of carbs and fat in there. So it's a good meal. There's just not a lot of it. So we look at these things and go, people will be like, oh god, she's not eating enough. That might be true, or it might not be true. Now, this sort of idea that people can go into this sort of starvation mode or like affect their metabolism by not eating enough, it's really, really hard to say. It's very individual. What's the truth in that? We don't know, okay? So when these studies are done and they look at like low calorie intake and how that might affect somebody in terms of like their metabolism, are they looking at the nutrient quality of their food or are they just looking at the calories? So if somebody is eating quite a low amount of calories but they're eating very nutrient dense food, like they're having lots of fruits and vegetables, plenty of protein, I'm going to be far less concerned about that person than if somebody is eating very low calories but they're having Kit Kats and Mars bars. Okay, um, so maybe low calories here is an issue. Do you have enough energy? Are you sleeping well? I'm going to talk about this again later on the last slide. But just to give you a wee heads up, that I would like to see some root veg in there, or some fats in there, like some avocado or something, and maybe some guacamole with it. And sure, that's going to add to the calories, but account for them. And honestly, you're going to see as we go on with this that she would have been absolutely fine with something like that. So we don't know what Jessie's like general eating looks like. This is just one day that I plucked out of any days. I'd say it's probably quite good for a Monday, right? So she's she's doing well. Like in here we see that there's asparagus, pak choy, and broccoli. So there's more veg, green, top marks, Jess, and lots of it. Okay, you'll also see that those things are super low in calories, so you can eat a lot of it, and there's like really no danger there at all. The chicken dumplings, which I adore that they say on the packet high protein, because they're not. Watch out for this, guys. I talked about this recently on Instagram about the protein Mars bars that have appeared in my news feed because, you know, the algorithms and Instagram think I'm interested in all things protein. And I am, and I was interested in that, but not in a good way. So high protein. I mean, I suppose if Itsu are comparing them like, you know, their chicken dumplings to potatoes, then yes, I guess they're high in protein. Are they high in protein compared to that lovely bit of turkey that she had at lunchtime? No. So, yep, sure, great. I'm not offended by the chicken dumplings. 118 calories, fairly inoffensive, I'd say. Nice with the veg in there as well. What I do really like about this, right, and I absolutely, this is so well done, Jess, is that you've recorded everything. So you've got the extra virgin olive oil, that's the EVU that you see there. You've got the oyster sauce, the soya sauce, and the palm sugar, and you've recorded them all. And what we can see from that is that those things alone add up to, what's that, 40, 70, 80-ish calories. Okay, now if you think if she's not measuring those things, then that half teaspoon, that's half a teaspoon of olive oil, could easily have been closer to a tablespoon and could easily have been more like 100 calories. That oyster sauce, that 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, don't account for it, and maybe you have that combined with the other things. You know, you're ramping up your calories along with the soya sauce. Yeah, okay, maybe the oyster sauce and soya sauce, you're less likely to have loads of it. Maybe not, though. People, when they don't measure, they do tend to just glug it in. The palm sugar, again, as well, by the way, palm sugar is just sugar. So, much like any other sugars that you see out there, it's not better for you in any way. It's just sugar. But again, measuring that ensures that you're not going to be like consuming the way too much of it. So, you'll also see at the bottom there that she's compensated for the lack of protein in the high protein chicken dumplings by having a protein shake. I don't know if she does that routinely or if that's because she was aware of being a bit lower in protein to this day. I don't know. I've not asked her about it. I will say I'd still rather see her eating the protein than drinking it, but I would rather see her having the protein than not having it at the same time. So overall, again, not bad. Then the last one that we've got is snacks. That is not a picture of what she ate. It's just what was on the slide. Sorry. So she's got 56 grams of carbs in the snacks. So the snacks are pretty carb heavy, very low in protein, as you can see. But you could argue that her protein shakes throughout the days were snacks as well. Whatever. Again, she's got more fruit and veg in there with the peppers and the apple. So that's great. And she's even managed to sneak in a packet of crisps into her day with very little harm. Like that's like, okay, the chicken dumplings may verge on junk food area, you know, they're processed or whatever. But the crisps are the sort of standout junk food item. And if that's all she's having in the day and it's 139 calories and like that just makes her day a lot better for her emotionally or whatever, then like I'm not really that concerned about that, because as we'll see from the next slide, in fact, let's just take a look. As we see from this slide, she's got 818 grams of fruit and veg in the day. So that is absolutely nailing it. She's done absolutely brilliantly with that. You'll also see, though, that she was pretty low in calories, 1,188 calories. Now, on her MyFitnessPal, it said that she's aiming for 1,400 in a day. And I'm assuming that she's still aiming for weight loss with that as well. Now, I'm not sure how much she's exercising. I know that she is going to a CrossFit. I also know that she's a teacher, which means that she is up and around all day. So 1,400 calories. Now, if she is routinely eating the 1,400 or as we're seeing today, 1,200 calories, and she's not losing weight, then we would want to look at why. Okay, now I believe she has lost a fair amount of weight since she started doing this. At 1,400 calories or 1,200 calories a day, if this was happening every day, Monday to Sunday, then I would expect her to lose weight rapidly. Okay, that's a very, very low amount of calories. As I've said, I did not ask her to record this day. I just picked a random day, so maybe that is randomly fairly low. Now, I mentioned earlier on that that may or may not be a concern. I would say I would like to see it a little bit more than that. Okay, I would say that that's hard to sustain. Now, she would maybe say it's not, and then that would be fine. And I would look at the nutrient density of her food. Is she eating enough? Now, here's the thing. I've not overly mentioned fat in this, but her fat intake for each meal was pretty low. Okay, ideally you would be eating like 50 to 70 grams of fat a day. So I'm imagining that's fairly low overall, and that's bringing the calorie content down. Now, the problem with that is that you might see slight problems emerge with that over a longer period of time. Now, these are all maybes because every individual person is very different. It's just something that we'd want to monitor. So if your skin was getting very dry or your hair was getting kind of brittle, then you're going to start going, skin doesn't tell a lie, right, okay? If your skin's getting pretty dry, then I'm going to say, like, you know, shove some fat down your throat. The protein, 98-ish grams of protein in a day. Again, as you know, a little bit on the low side. So again, that's maybe reflected in the calories there, that protein's a little low. And you notice she also drank the protein twice in a day. I'm not offended by that. Like, that's not terrible. Okay, but we would definitely prefer to see that being eaten rather than drank. Or even, to be honest, actually what I'd like to see is a little bit more protein eaten on top of what she's had. So I'd like to see like another 100 grams of chicken in there, for example, and that would give her another 20 odd grams of protein. So possibly a wee bit low in the calories, or almost definitely that day a little bit low in the calories. Superb with the fruit and veg, bit low in protein, probably a wee bit low in the fat. Generally speaking though, excellent choices, and she's obviously very conscious of what she's eating. She's recording it very carefully. I would say she's building a very, very good platform for long-term health. Okay, so if this is what a typical day looks like for Jess, then she has got the bones and the makings of a very good solid diet that hopefully can endure, you know, honestly, for the rest of her life. Like, this is what I'd like to see happening here, is people being able to carry this through for the rest of their lives and thrive off it. Now, in terms of the calorie amount, I'd be looking at energy levels. Are you recovering from exercise? Do you feel good when you're training? Are you sleeping well? Are you concentrating well? What's your mood like? Do you have patience with people and energy for them? Like, do you want to get up and go and do things? Or are you just kind of going, I really don't want to? Monitor those things for the calorie intake, and that'll give you an awful lot of feedback on whether or not that's high enough. Again, I'm surmising. I don't know if that's what she's having every day or if it's just this single standalone day that she's done that. So, well done, Jess. Thank you for letting us do this. If any of the rest of you would like me to do something similar, drop me a message. If any of you would like to just get private feedback on MyFitnessPal, I would rather give it public feedback because you never know where other people could benefit. But if you're like really weird about that, then and you want a day's feedback, then drop me a message and add me as a friend on MyFitnessPal. I'm actually I'd like to see more of you adding me as a friend on MyFitnessPal. It's telling me a couple of things that you're not doing that. One is either that you're not recording your food, like Evers, or two, that you don't want me to see it. Both of which I would say is probably not really going to help you long term. So I'm not judging you. I'm here definitely trying to help you. And a really good way of getting me to help you is by allowing me to see into one of your random days. Anyway, thank you, Jess. Well done, and keep on keeping on. You're doing great.